That's right. Welcome to Street Muscle Diaries, and we are live from the crapper right here, live and direct, Old Orchard Beach, Maine, USA. And no, I'm not sitting on the crapper. I'm over here in the tub. So, okay. So let's go over the topic discussion. It is MPGs and tires. So, on my Scat Pack, the trip over here, it's like, what, 4.5 hours, something like that. Give or take, with traffic. Excellent. The BF Goodrich Comp 2s, I'm telling you, man, I don't even know if I'm going to get drag radials next year because they're just outstanding street radials. Best tires I've ever run on any vehicle I've ever had. Performance vehicle or just normal point A, point B, whatever. BF Goodrich G-Force Comp 2 and the 275 40 ZR20. Just insane. I mean, versatile, kind of like the Scat Pack is versatile. So like, what I mean by versatile is, you can be the beast, or you can cruise like Grandma Moses, and they're comfortable, they ride smooth, and they're excellent from a dig, or even in rainy conditions. I mean, I never thought I'd be talking about tires this much, but I'm just telling you right now, I don't even know if I'm going to go with drag radials next season. Yes, I could get a better ET. I could probably shave about 4/10 off with Nitto Tri-5Rs. I understand that, or Sticky Mickeys, or Hoosiers, but I'm just telling you, man, it's for everyday driving. The All Season Plus BF Goodrich are excellent. I mean, I just drove, whatever the miles are from northern Vermont over to here. I don't know how many miles it is. I didn't look on my odometer, or tripometer, but it's, more than 100, and I'm telling you, man, oh my word, crazy. I mean, the handling and just this season has just been off the charts. For a muscle car, I know it's not a Porsche 911, it's not a corner carving Camaro. I understand that it's a muscle car, it's a straight line performer. Yes, I understand these things. But that's what I'm about. I'm about muscle cars, street muscle, big V8s, loud, nasty, That's my thing. Not EVs, or I don't care if there's faster platforms out there. Honestly, I don't. American V8 muscle cars has always been where I'm at. And this is what my third one. My truck had a V10 in it, my big Ford Super Duty. That thing was pretty beastly as well. The F-250 Super Duty I drove for years. That was a great truck, it really was. But not to get into the whole history of every car I've ever owned and bore you folks with all that kind of stuff. But we are live from the crapper, so I need to talk about stuff that's performance related and not crapper related. Because we're live, we're in public, out in public, well, I'm not in public, I'm in a hotel room, but, this is being shown out to people everywhere. So, obviously, you don't want to know what else I do in here. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? All right, so, anyways, back on topic. I'm thinking that maybe, I'm going to just roll with that for now. I did the weight modding project, and that was kind of like, I took off 60-ish pounds, gained some time there, or I should say shaved some time off, whichever way you want to look at it. Got some gains, which means I actually shaved time off. In performance-related talk, that's, kind of like golf. You want to shoot a lower score for better. And basically, I think that, I'm pretty stuck on these BFGs for tires. And for now, And I may experiment with drag radials next year. I don't know, but you know, considering the tires from my Challenger are $1,500 every time, you know, when you experiment, it's kind of stuck with them for the, you know, at least half or part of the season or all of the season, you know. So it just depends on what's going on. Now, the treadwear rating is 400 on the BFGs. Now, on the Nittos, it's like, I can't remember. It's either 100 or 200. I'd have to look it up. I think it depends on which series you get. That's a real low tread wear, which means that's not good. That means on regular street driving, they'll wear out twice as fast. You know, so you're going to be replacing them maybe even before the end of the season. You're going to be sliding all over the place, you know. Now, I've spoken to other, like, drag racers, you know, like drag race guys out there on YouTube and other people that I know, and at least online. And I've talked to some people who I know who race in real world, who I know in real world as well. And that is the case. You know, they're great for performance. Don't get me wrong. I mean, on the street too, they'll, you know, in the right conditions, you can shave the amount of time off that I said you can. It works. You know, I did it on my other Challenger. You know, it's not fabrication. That's real world stuff, real world numbers, man. So that's fine. I'm just not sure at this point. I mean, we're late in the muscle car season now. We're almost in September 2023 here. Of course, I'll probably leave this on my page forever, but this is when it's actually being broadcast live. And so that's really where I'm at. You know, the 275s are really a good tire for the Scat Pack 392. You can go to 295s, but with that rim size, you know, the OEM rims, you can't go any bigger than 295s. Then you're getting into, not sure if it'll fit on that rim. You might have to get new rims that are larger, rated for a larger tire like 305s or 315s. So, yeah, you don't really want to go past like 295. The 275 seem to be fine. I mean, I can light them up if I want to at any point in time, especially in track mode, you know. But they also grip good. Put it in sport mode, and I'm getting really good times. I mean, running consistent high 11s is pretty good for street radials, considering the manufacturer stated times are in the low 12s. So there you go. Also, the horsepower ratings, if you watch that video, I did some dyno testing, and yeah, 500 right on the line, you know. And you can see it's right there. I mean, I don't know how well you can see it because it was a back seat cam and it's up front, but whatever. It was on the line, believe me. I went back and showed the history, and you know, yeah. So there's that piece. I'm not really doing a full recap because muscle car season isn't really over with yet. Still have a couple more months here. I'm gonna, you know, 3 months or so before it's time to put Rib Cracker away for like 4 months and take out the SUV, and got to get that prepared too. That needs a few things done to it, and you know, as always, it's an older vehicle, but it's great in the snow and they run forever, so it's worth the stretch, because it's just, you know, I don't want to run Rib Cracker in the snow. Not that it can't perform in the snow, especially with these BFGs, but I don't want the salt to get all over the brakes and the undercarriage, even though I do undercoat it. You know, it'll last way longer if I don't drive it in the wintertime. So that's why a lot of people, you know, I mean, especially the ones who own the original muscle cars, you know, they never take those out in the winter, because, you know, the ones that do, it ends up with body rot later on. And, you know, so I used to drive my others in the winter, and then I've learned that that's just not the thing to do. You got to have some kind of they call them winter beaters, but, you know, whatever you want to call it, a secondary vehicle that's good in snow and you don't care about as much, you know, that type of thing, you know. So, all right, so that brings me to MPGs. So the next piece of this in this topic discussion, live from the crapper. Hard rock and metal. Here's the toilet. Watch. And the toilet says hello. Yeah, MPGs. So I was averaging 23 miles per gallon. Now, I don't care who you are out there with your 40 mile per gallon, 50 mile per gallon hybrids. That's great and all that. How much fun is that car to drive, or SUV, crossover, or whatever? Is it really? I mean, it may be fun to them, I guess. Not as much fun as my Challenger. I'll guarantee you that. Now, 23 miles per gallon. It was over that at one point, like 23.5 or something like that. But it kind of fluctuates as, depending on your throttle. I also recalibrated the throttle mapping, and reset the Uconnect onboard computer to default. And what that does is the computer learns your driving habits and, with your gas that you're running and everything. And I had run some lower octane experiments and do not run anything lower than 91 in a big block 392 or a Hellcat. And other performance, Mustang Dark Horse or whatever else, whatever it is you own. Make sure you check your ratings, because I went down to like 89 a little bit. Ran just some experiments with the booster, octane booster, and it just doesn't run as good when you have that pure 93 in there with a booster, or just 93 with no booster. It runs its best. It's just got that crisp, boom. As soon as you hit that throttle, you were there. You know what I mean? It doesn't. It just seems like it's still powerful in the lower octane. Don't get me wrong, but I'm convinced that the 93 octane is the best fuel for any high performance engine on up. So I think that's basically where I'm at with that. Now, MPGs, and tying it into the MPG piece, I'm not floating off topic like I do sometimes. MPGs are really based on your driving habits, what kind of car settings you have, and like a lot of vehicles have different driving modes. Like I know Mustangs do, especially the new ones. Camaros as well. They have driving modes, and it affects your miles per gallon depending on what you have the driving mode set on and your driving habits, as in your throttle. Your driving habits. How much throttle are you giving the car when you are accelerating? If you are jackrabbiting, if you're lighting them up, if you're doing all that, obviously your MPGs are going to go way down. I get down to like 13 when I'm doing that, But today, I left it on eco mode, auto eco mode, which is auto mode, which is what the car defaults to, and 23 miles per gallon plus. So running 93 octane with a booster, excellent. I did the system reset, and I did the system reset, which resets everything in the computer, so it's like starting new. It learns your driving habits as though you're a new driver getting in there. And I did the throttle mapping calibration, which that's not hard to do in a Challenger or Charger. I'm not sure about other vehicles if this works or not, but you set your car on your push button starter to run without actually starting the car. Just click, accessory, and it goes to run. You can see it on the LED. And then you press the throttle slowly all the way down to the floor, just as though you're accelerating, you're launching, and you hold it there for 20 seconds. Then you back off slowly, in your 20-second window, and then you put the car back to off position, and then you start it up. And with the reboot and that calibration, it does make a difference. And I noticed like it's relearning you. It's it's like fresh and new. I wouldn't do this like every other month or something. This is probably the last time I will do it, but I just wanted to do it with the fresh tank of 93 plus octane, probably actually with a booster right around 95, 96. I'm pretty sure. I don't have a meter to test it, but with the booster, I just figured what I've been running, do the math. It's not that hard. So yeah, that would be I'm guessing 95 octane because I did run some lower octane earlier last week, so that brought it down a little bit to run cooler operating temperatures. Um, so yeah, I mean, 23 plus miles per gallon is really good for a big block 392. I don't care what anybody says, that is excellent. Now I was just cruising, easy on the throttle, had to, get on it once in a while just to kind of scamper into a lane, or, you can't help it. But, no full throttle, no aggressive driving, so to speak. Yeah, I tooled around in track mode here in Old Orchard and a strip. I did make a video on that earlier. That was pre-recorded. That's not live like this. Live from the crapper. This is Street Muscle Diaries in Old Orchard Beach, Maine. So thank you for joining me. Go back and check out the beginning of this video piece if you haven't. If you're just joining me now, I appreciate it. So we moved on to MPGs, and like I said, over 23 miles per gallon is really good for 392 big block Hemi. And I think as far as running the BFGs, that helps as well, because I know that on the technical end, if you're running worn out tires, that's not good. Not just for traction, but it does affect your MPGs a bit. Not as much as old oil if you haven't changed your oil, but especially in a muscle car like mine, is 500 horsepower. So yeah, changing the throttle mapping, which just sets it back to, like I said, fresh and new, just like you do with the Uconnect on the performance pages, Uconnect system, and you go back, you can system reset. It's kind of like rebooting a computer. That's basically what it's doing. And I did notice that it's like a little crispier. I don't know if that's just because I jumped the octane back up, or if it was the throttle remapping, or the throttle reset recalibration. It's not changing the mapping, but it's the calibration. You're recalibrating it back to factory. So you don't want to do this too much, but you know what I'm saying? You should just do it like once. But once you do that, run the gas you're gonna run. Don't keep changing, going back and running. Like, you can't run 87 octane. Don't try that. It's just, it pulls timing and you lose about 40 horsepower. Yeah, you don't want to be doing that. So, and let's see what Mr. Toilet has to say. Oh, Mr. Toilet agrees. Don't run 87 octane in a big block Hemi. So let's see who we've got online here. Oh, looks like Brandon's here. What's up, bro? Live from the crapper. Hard rock and metal always. No, I'm not sitting on the crapper. I'm sitting on the bathtub, just so you know, from my hotel room. So I covered those two pieces. Really, that's really what I wanted to cover on this live show tonight. Was I did include some footage earlier. I mean, just cruising the strip, and that's pre-recorded. But I'm not really going to be doing a lot of driving around, so I'm only going to do bits and pieces of the actual driving footage. I'll do a little bit more probably tomorrow or whatever on the ocean front here, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm going to be on foot mostly. I might do some footage, just some beach stuff or whatever on foot, but that's not really going to be Street Muscle Diaries. That's, it's only when I'm in my car or talking about it is when it's Street Muscle Diaries, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, great trip over. I mean, just outstanding. I was a little apprehensive because I don't really like driving in eco mode that much, because eco mode it's like driving normal. It's like, the Hemi just kind of, let's just go, let's drive now, you know what I mean? Instead of, when you put it in track mode or sport mode, yeah, that's what it does. And it throws your head into the back of the seat, and, well, when you're in eco mode, you've got to really get down on that throttle to really get the, for the pickup. I didn't drive in eco mode much. I've had the car over a year, and I really didn't drive in eco mode that much because I was just like, I don't think so. You know, I didn't buy the car a year ago, or my other Challenger I had for years before that, for economy. You know what I'm saying? I don't really care about what the miles per gallon are. But just for experimental purposes and for video content that I bring to all of you, you know, I do these things where I'll do like, okay, what's my least miles per gallon I can get with aggressive driving? And I found out that's right around 13. And today, this was the most I've ever gotten, which is over 23. So it just shows you the difference in parameters in the 4 different drive modes being, if you look at your Uconnect screen, auto all the way over to the right, custom, which is where you can customize the performance, all on touchscreen, sport, everything on sport, track, everything on track. Custom mode, you can customize it where you can put, you know, the steering on track, the traction on street, and the transmission in sport, if you want all 3 different aspects covered, you know, from that. Heavy steering versus medium heavy steering versus soft and comfortable. Those are the 3 different, you know, steering settings that you can do. So, you know, I've been comfortable all day just cruising around, you know, going up the interstates and toll booths and everything else. So, you know, that really is for road trips. And if you watch my YouTube channel and follow my Street Muscle Diaries on here or whatever, you know, I've mentioned that before, that it really, if you're looking for MPGs and for economy, you know, you're not really driving, or at least I'm not, you know, really aggressively on long trips like that. You know, I'm not going 130 miles an hour down the interstate to get here with state troopers out there, and you know, just kind of cruising along, you know, on the interstates. At one point, it turns into 70 miles per hour speed limit over here, but that's like towards the end when you're actually in Maine. But you know, connecting interstates, you know, it's like 89. You get off 89, and then it's, what is it, 93. 101. I mean, there's like 4 different, you know, I'm not going to go through like the whole route. Anybody who's driven out here to, you know, gone to York Beach or whatever is going to know these routes. But, you know, that's basically it, is I was just really being as conservative as I could be on the throttle, and just to see how much I could grandpa, you know, a Dodge Challenger Scat Pack, you know, and honestly, it's just like, it's nothing for it. It's like, you can drive it any way you want, you know what I'm saying? Hellcats, same way. You can drive them like Grandma Moses, you know what I'm saying? Or you can turn into Satan, you know, so. They just got the supercharger, and you know, there's a whole different thing going on with that, with the supercharger performance, and that's fine. I still kind of like the push rod big block V8 Hemi that I've got. It's great. It's not as fast as a Hellcat, but it is fast, believe me. The 392 will put your head in the back seat and put you in jail or in the grave just like that. So don't play around with 392, man. It's no joke, and neither is the Hellcat either, the 6.2 liter supercharged Hemi. Or the Demons, obviously, you know, they're even faster. Fastest Challenger trim is the Demon, especially the new C170. That's over 1,000 horsepower, so there you go, Tesla, right in your face, you know. I don't want to get into that whole topic and comparing vehicles and what's faster. Is the M5 faster? I don't care. I like the Challengers. They're my favorite cars because they look like the old school car with the new technology combined, and you got old school muscle and new world muscle, modern muscle combined into one package. You don't have to be out there wrenching the thing every weekend, you know, like you do an original piece. You know, if you've got a 68 Charger, you're going to be turning a wrench. Maybe not every weekend, but you're going to work on them more than you are anything new. You know, it's just the way it goes. But they're easier to work on. That's another thing. Much more, you know, you don't need diagnostics and all that, you know, computerized electronics. And, you know, it's more simplistic. It was from a simpler time, simpler mechanics, a lot easier to work on. You could pull the whole thing apart. You know, you don't even have to be a professional mechanic and know how to work on one, basically, for the basic stuff, you know. So yeah, I just wanted to cover those two pieces on this topic, discussion for narrative and street performance. Yeah, street muscle is doing great over here, just like it is over in Vermont. I mean, I took it out. You guys only saw a small piece of what I did. I mean, all around over here, and yeah, it's like nothing, man. It was eating the pavement right up, loving it. So, absolutely, BF Goodrich, G-Force Comp 2, in my case, 275 40 ZR20. Obviously, every vehicle is going to be different, depending on if you're using OEM rims or if you have custom rims. You do your own. You can change your sizes. Just watch your clearances and everything when you're doing that. Make sure if you're using lowering springs, and you got to take into account what you're doing with the vehicle when you start to do suspension mods and things like that. Now mine has a Bilstein, it's a performance suspension. It's not as advanced as the one that's on the Scat Pack 1320 for drag strip, because the 1320 has a track tune suspension, which transfers the weight better than a standard Scat Pack like I have. And it has a trans brake, which I would never use. That's why I didn't get a 1320, because unless you go to the drag strip, it really doesn't. I mean, yes, it can be a grocery getter and you can do all the same things with it, but you're paying for extra features. It's like, I don't know. It's like buying a truck with a built-in vacuum cleaner. I don't know. I mean, just something. You're paying for extra stuff that you're just not really going to use that much. Actually, if it had a built-in vacuum cleaner, I might use it. Vacuum yourself and, have a little empty box. That's a pretty good idea. Kidding. I don't know. But it's just, I couldn't see paying for extra features that I'm not going to really use. I don't go to the drag strip every weekend. The nearest one's 3.5 hours from me in northern Vermont. The Lebanon Valley Speedway down in New York, or Loudon, New Hampshire, which actually I'm over this way, so that's closer. But I'm not going to go to the drag strip when I'm here with my family on vacation. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you should have drag radials and have an extra set of rims and tires if you're going to drag whatever car you've got. Whether you have some kind of modded import thing that you want to take into that class, or if you got a classic American street muscle like I drive, whatever it is you got, you should have drag radials to go on a drag strip, because it's a prep surface. They're made for it, and you're going to get your better ET, your best time. Even on the street, you'll get better time. But again, remember what I said: tread wear rating is too low to be using on the street all the time, every day. So that means it's going to wear out twice as fast. So it just depends on what you want to spend your money on. You're going to be dropping $3,000 a year on tires if you go drag radials for every day. So get them on a separate set of rims that are just for track, or just for when you want to run them, even on the street. Take them off, put on your street radials for everyday stuff. You're going to work, you're doing this, you're going that, grocery getting, whatever, going for rides with the family. If you're going to go out and run numbers, take it, put it on the jack, take your impact wrench, zip, 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 put your drag radials on, take it out. Street beast mode, you know what I mean? That's if you're obsessed with numbers. Some people are, they really want to get those numbers no matter what. Like I did some weight reduction modding, and now I'm bringing it back to stock because I want my creature comforts back. I want my panels in. I want my stereo back. I proved that you can run under 12 seconds with street radials with a little bit of weight reduction. I did like 60 pounds. Now remember, it's 100 pounds of weight reduction per tenth. So that's a general rule of thumb. Depends on DA, your driving skills, and your tire selection, as I've said many times before. But in general, it's like 100 pounds. Now, if you really want to use weight reduction modding for your main performance piece, because it doesn't really cost you anything, it's a lot of work. You got to take a lot out of the car. Now you want to drop out about 560 pounds. If you do that, you can run a 392 in the high 10s, 10.9, which is Hellcat time. It's done. Look at Scavenger 1320 on YouTube. He runs a 10.9 in that thing. And that's a Scat Pack 1320, which, yes, it has a trans brake. It's got the track tune suspension. I realize that. But the main piece is that he stripped that car down for full race prep to get those numbers, you know, which is cool because it didn't really cost him anything other than, you know, he did get some special rims and, you know, the drag radials in a different size and, you know, better for the drag strip, which I believe is, I think 17-inch is better for the drag strip instead of the 20-inch that comes OEM. So there's that. And then, of course, you know, that's all in. It just depends on what you're looking for. You know, some people don't care. The performance, and especially with automotive stuff, is really a very small percentage of drivers out there. You know, I represent, you know, Mopar, but I also represent the Brotherhood of Muscle, Mopar, all across the world, really, because I am one of them. Not because I'm something special or some, you know, I'm not famous. I'm just a nobody living in nowhere land, Vermont, you know. But, you know, I just share my experiences that maybe some people can learn from some of the things that I do and share, because I'm honest about everything I do, and I try to share what I learned from other technicians, other drag racers, and people that are out there doing it, you know what I mean? And I share all this stuff with everyone on my YouTube channel and here. Be sure to check that out, Base Lightning 666 on YouTube. And it's basically the same content that's on here. Just depends on what platform you prefer. I have not as many subscribers on YouTube as I have followers on Facebook, because I've really focused on Facebook more years because of my music thing. With my original hard rock, August Theory, morphing into Base Lightning over this last, it was this year I changed it, just to refresh, and even though it's basically the same material, it's just original hard rock stuff, but it's, you know, it just gives it a new light and just kind of new life, a new light, a new, you know, I don't want to say new direction because I'm still writing hard rock songs, you know, but anyways, that's that thing. I don't really want to bring that into my Street Muscle Diaries. Just that's part of who I am, and, you know, and what I do. So yeah, so that's really it for performance as far as on this piece, anyways. You know, tires and MPGs definitely are tied in together in your driving habits, and how you're maintaining your car. Did you change your air filter? Your cab air filter is more for your air quality, but your air intake filter. Are you using a CAI? I don't like CAI because I don't like an open canister. Now, they do work good. I had one on my shaker. If you remember my shaker that I had a few years ago, I drove that for a number of years, and it was nice, but the thing just would not stay. It would get dirty way too often. Like bugs, everything sucking in there. I don't like it. I like the closed box. And then with the OEM air box that comes up underneath, the air grabber is down on the front lower grill and the hood scoop. So you're getting hood scoop for cooling, and it's bringing air around to the back of the engine, up into the air intake, and the air hole down in the driver's side front lower grill. There's an air hole there that brings it directly up to the air intake, through your filter, throttle body, intake manifold into the engine. That's good enough. I don't need a CAI, and I don't need, I mean, come on, man. I mean, I'm running ridiculous speeds in this thing, and I don't even need to really do anything to it but change the tires once a year, you know. I haven't been able to get 2 years out of any tires. I'm trying, you know, but it's just, muscle cars go through tires, man. Just be ready if you ever get into them, you know, they go through tires. I mean, even if you don't light them up, it's just the nature of it. It's a lot of power and torque going to the rear axle. And I run a 309 gear, where on my shaker it was a 390 gear because it was a 6-speed Tremec manual. And what I have now is I run a Torque Flight 8-speed automatic, which is way faster, and the 392 is way faster than the 5.7 too. Like, yeah, 110 more horsepower, but not just that, but the times. You know, I'm running in 13s, now I'm running in the high 11s. I mean, it just tells you right there. And if I get drag rails on there, I know I can run low 11s, maybe even 11.0 with the right DA, good air, you know. So I know I can hit that. I already set a goal, you know, this year with some weight modding, and I put new BFGs. Even though they're all season radials, I still shave tenths from my time, from driving skills and from tires and good DA. Remember, that does affect everything everywhere. Like if you run, that's why the people that talk about numbers across the country, it's like, okay, well, where were you? Oh, you were in Colorado? Okay. Oh, this guy's in Vegas. Well, my car ran a faster time here. Well, it's because the DA was good. It was different. It was lower. It was good. Good DA numbers are density, altitude. It makes your car go faster. Bad DA, your car goes slower. There's nothing that has to do with your driving skill, really. I mean, it does, but it's going to affect your horsepower numbers. It's going to affect your time. You know what I mean? Just like down on the coast. You know, if you're down on the coast of Texas, it's going to your car, the same exact car. Like, we'll take mine, 392 Scat Pack with all season plus radials. Will run this a different time here in Maine than it'll run down in Texas or out in California or in Arizona. Different time, slightly different, slightly up, slightly down, you know, faster, slower, whatever, depending on where you are. The DA absolutely has a lot to do, and your driving skills, how well you launch. Your launching is very important too, because that's the thing, you know, like it's people see people on YouTube and whatnot and other social media platforms racing. Oh, well, that car can beat it. Look at it. You know, look at that guy go. It's like, yeah, but how is the driver? Is the driver experienced? Is he just some kid who's only been driving for a couple of years? What if he's an experienced drag racer who's been driving for 30 years and he's racing against a kid with a faster trim car and he beats him? Why? Because he's a better driver, you know? So it's not all about numbers on paper, you know. When it comes to that stuff, there's a lot of trash talk out there, and I try not to get into it. I've talked to people and numerous times in different times in my life on YouTube and Facebook, and you know, I just kind of laugh it off. You know, okay, dude, whatever. You know, and I've, you know, like I said, the people that have called me out, if I didn't take the time to explain to them that I'm really not into losing my driver's license, get thrown in jail or whatever. And then there's a few, you know, there's a handful of people that it was just a spare of the moment thing. We didn't plan it and we raced, you know, and I know I can't beat everything out there, but I'm certainly not the slowest out there. That's for sure, not even close. And, you know, when I open that thing up, man, it's you got to have something supercharged to beat me, believe me. That thing is nasty, you know. I mean, when I want it to be, or I can just go and get groceries. So that's what's so great about the versatility of the Challenger and the Chargers. And the Chargers have a great thing because, you know, they're 4 doors. You get more space, so they're actually more comfortable. I just prefer the coupe because they look like the original, you know, Challengers back in 1970. So that's why it's really more of the look, and I like coupes better, anyways, than 4 doors. But for room comfort, yeah, the Charger, absolutely. 4-door, you know, definitely. Sedan is a better way to go. For BMWs, go for the M4 is really good. Track car, and it's fast, very quick. It, you know, again, driver skills, DA, you know, things like that. M5 is a beast. That is nasty. That's kind of, you know, it's more like in competition with the Hellcats. But M4s are fast. Yeah, they are. M4 is almost equal with a Scat Pack in terms of, you know, the time, even though it's only what is it, twin turbo V6, but because it's lightweight and quick, and especially the all-wheel drive ones. That car is fast, man, and it handles really well. Excellent handling car. And I don't downplay BMWs. They are nice, you know. I don't like them personally because I'm an American muscle guy, but you have to respect the other platforms and the other, you know, I mean, Porsches are sick, you know, and come on, man, you know, track cars and handlers, but I like drag racers, so that's why I like Challengers and cars like that, because they're straight line performers, you know. You just get it on a straightaway and you floor it. That's what they're made for, man. That's, you know, that's American muscle culture, man, and American, you know, muscle car culture. It's just how it is, man. We love the drag race. But you also have to keep in mind what, you know, when you're comparing different platforms and different types of cars, I don't know. I mean, it's the M4 that I beat could have easily beaten me if I was sleeping. You know what I mean? I toasted that guy, but that was a nice car, and he was a good driver, but it just the wide open Hemi, man, when you're on a straightaway. But if I took and went to an autocross course or something where there's a lot of twisties, now the M4 would take the lead because the M4 is a better handling twisty car. It doesn't have the body roll that the Challenger has, you know, boom, boom, you know. This thing is like, just like that, man, just like a snake through them twisty bits, you know. It is a nasty little car, you know. The M5 is just a beast. It's a sedan, it's a four-door, but that thing is nasty. It's like 660 horsepower-ish. Don't quote me on that, but that's pretty close. Twin-turbo V8. And it switches between all-wheel drive and two-wheel and rear-wheel drive. With a push of a button, you can get all-wheel drive or two-wheel drive. The car is $130,000, you know, so you might as well get a Hellcat, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, but they are nasty cars. Performance I mean, from BMW is very German engineering. Performance has always been competitive out there, you know what I mean? But I don't care, you know, and I like muscle cars. That's it. I like the loud, nasty, heavy, you know, just the brutality of it, you know, and just the raw essence of that street muscle setting you back in the seat, and the theater, you know, the exhaust note and the sound. That's hard. You can't top that. You know what I mean? Now that's one thing. With the M5, it's a sick car. The ones I've driven out there with, you know, but it's kind of sounds like a fart. I don't know. It doesn't really sound good. I get my Hemi going, and that sounds better than anything on the planet. You know what I mean? Mustangs sound good, don't get me wrong, and some of the Camaros, I understand that, but it's hard to top a Hemi sound. Let's face it. The theater is just why a lot of people love them, you know. And you know, that's basically where I'm at. Is yes, there are faster platforms, but I love American muscle, so that's just me. I like the old school stuff, of course, but the new world modern stuff is just a lot faster. I mean, Scat Packs will beat any of those old muscle cars, except for the ones that are, you know, modded with, you know, super friggin' 1200 horsepower, you know, whatever. I mean, of course. And then it's the driving skill, again, if they can hook it up. If you can't dead hook, it doesn't matter what you got. The other person's probably going to win, you know. You can get beat with a twin turbo V6 if you don't dead hook, you know. It's driving skills, man, and tire selection. Driving skills, tire selection, every time. And launch, your reaction time, that's a big one. If you get a better reaction time, like look at Chris on Scavenger 1320 YouTube channel. Those cars that he beats, watch his reaction time. And that, like, when he's staged, you know, pre-stage, stage, and he's up to the tree, deep, 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 bing. And as soon as that light's green, boom. He's there, you know. Very impressive. And he is the 392 Club champ as far as I'm concerned. He's won championships with a Scavenger, not Scavenger, with a Scat Pack 1320, 392 stock tune, no modding other than weight reduction, full race prep, with with switching from street radials to drag radials. Obviously, he runs Hoosiers. Watch him, man. I'm telling you, that is impressive. He's beating Hellcats, upper trim Mustangs, Camaros. he gets beat too, but he wins a lot, and he's won trophies and championships. I mean, watch his channel. He's got several of his races. He shows you everything. He shows you the time slips. You know, there is no smoke and mirrors with Chris, man. He's a straight shooter, and he's an excellent race car driver. With basically a stock tuned scat pack. You know, you can do it. It's just driving skills and tire selection and DA. I say it every time, and reaction time. So, you know, am I out there looking around for people to drag race? I just cruised the strip earlier. I saw Mustangs going by, and they give me a little rev when they go by. You know, now I could have called one of them out and gone down on a back road somewhere and raced them probably, but I'm just here trying to have some fun with my family. I'm not out there looking to, you know, to snake everybody. I don't really care. I'm so comfortable in my scat that you could beat me and I don't even care. It's like, yeah, great. I still like my own car better. Have a nice day. Does it really mean anything to me? Not really. Yes, of course I have a competitive spirit in me. I like to see, you know, that everyone has a little competitive spirit and wants to know what can your car be, you know, with certain, when it's set up a certain way. Of course, yeah. You go to a drag strip, it's competition, yes. But I'm not always thinking in terms of that everywhere I go. You know, I'm not like, can I beat this car? I'm going to step on it and see what we, you know, whatever, man. Just get in your car and have fun. Take care of it, change the oil, get it lube, oil, and filter serviced. Keep your tires rotated and balanced every other oil change. Keep your tune-ups at the right intervals. I do mine at 50K, but that's because it's a muscle car. You really can let them go to 100K. There's certain things I do that are more, I don't want to say extreme, but like sooner. Just because when I'm out doing my experimenting, you know, yeah, it's a Hemi, and what can I say? I take care of it and service it well. But you should do the same with whatever vehicle it is you drive, whether it's a modded import, stock tune import, whatever. GTRs are fast as well. Can't forget the Nissan GTR. Those are insanely fast. They're about equal with a super stock Challenger. About this, almost the same numbers, except the GTR actually gets a little better traction because it's all-wheel drive and it's lighter weight. But they are sizzling fast. That's what Paul Walker got killed in, I believe, is a GTR. You know, from the Fast and Furious series, and you know, rest in peace. He was a great actor, a good-looking guy, talented guy. You know, but it can happen, man, to anybody, whether you're famous or you're just a nobody or whatever. You know, be careful out there on them roads, people. You know, be kind, be courteous, stay away from road rage. Somebody's having a bad day, just let them have it. Let them have the lane, whatever. You know, it's not worth getting involved with a complete stranger in some kind of incident that you don't even know the person who he is. I've had people yell stuff out at me, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever, man. Flip them the bird and keep going. If you can catch me, guess what? Then we can have a road rage. None of them have been able to. You see this one guy, oh my God, I got a story. This guy, I think he was trying to challenge me. He's got one of those brand new Honda Accords, and they are nice, and they are quick little cars. With this guy, he's like following me, like, you know, like all through. I'm like, what is this guy doing? He's following me around. Then we get up off the, you know, out of town, up on the interstate. Hey, I look back, he's still there. So he comes up. Then he like comes up next to me, and he looks over, and he's like looking at me. I'm like, okay, I guess he wants to roll race me. And he did like this. 1, 2, 3, go. I'm like, what? He's really doing this? And by the time I reacted to that, I see him start to accelerate. Goodbye. In my rear view mirror goes the brand new Honda Accord. You know, so yes, there's our quick little man bun cars, I call them, out there, and they can get you if you sleep at, you know, on your launch and stuff, of course. I mean, if you don't get a good launch and you're just spinning your tires, a Volkswagen Jetta can beat you, you know what I'm saying? So it's all about driving skills. Comes back to the driving skills, reaction time. But am I out looking around for challenging people and everything? No. You know what I'm saying? I'm just out there driving like everybody else. There's lots of people who own muscle cars who aren't out street racing everybody. We just love our cars. We love the sound, we love the theater, the comfort, the look of the car, and then the culture, and the car connects to the culture, that whole thing. You know, that's really the biggest part of it, more than just numbers on paper. I've beaten cars that on paper were supposed to be faster. So why is that? driving skills, DA, tire choice, launch control. The same thing I've been saying over and over again for years, you know. So, you know, that's about it. I run my 93 octane. Like I said, I'm probably running around 95 octane today with the additive, and then I ran some lower, did the reset, did the calibration for throttle mapping, recalibrating, and it's getting a nice smooth response on that. So everything's all good to report. Thanks for joining me in my Street Muscle Diaries, live from the crapper, hard rock and metal always. And I'm going to have the toilet say goodbye. No, there was nothing in it. No, I would not be that gross. As always, check out my base lightning stuff. Check out my Street Muscle Diaries. Thank you all for taking the time to, you know, view my content. As you get time, I realize everybody has a life, you know. And I'll catch you all in the next one. And Base Lightning is out from this Street Muscle Diaries, live from the crapper in Old Orchard Beach, Maine. Everybody have a great night and have a great week, and we will see you all soon.